Yo, what up, YouTube? What up, what up, what up? The Bible talks about two different gods. It talks about the God of the gut, and the God of the gut or the God of the belly is a God that deals with survival, kill or be killed, fight or flight, pertaining to, the jungle or the wilderness. How one is able to protect themselves. This guy deals with base drive impulses and things of this nature pertaining to survival. So in some ways, it's arguably that this God, supersedes the growing area, which the growing area, I think, is more of the root chakra, which is kind of like the base, would be like really like, what I'm saying, arguably the base, because like pertaining to one's mentality and life and the fact that since mankind fell, we need to progenate and what have you and have children, you know what I'm saying? But the impulse and drive to be able to do that, you know what I'm saying, pertaining to find a mate, compete with the rest of society for a job or anything otherwise. Everything is competition in this wilderness. It's as a jungle. You know what I'm saying? It's just more, we could say to a degree, intellectual. But the more intellectual this jungle is, the more bestial it is and the more cutthroat it is. So it's a very sophisticated form of evil, okay, that generates around individuals that are constantly pit against one another, right? And the stomach is like the bottomless pit because, food goes in there and, you know what I'm saying? It's got to go through the intestine and everything else like that. The stomach, it breaks it down and things like that. The human body is constantly always getting hungry. You're not going to stop getting hungry, so to speak, unless something, maybe goes severely wrong. But generally, you're going to constantly hunger and you're going to constantly thirst while you're wearing the flesh. And the flesh is, you know what I'm saying, devoid of bone and things of this nature, is as a worm. It expands, it contracts, you know what I'm saying? And it is a living organism all on its own, along with the rest of your organs. They're quite individual and your body is comprised together. But if all of these things, you know what I'm saying, there are certain centers such as like your heart, right, which connects to the rest of the fruit on the vine, which are your organs inside of your body. And there is also, you know what I'm saying, your stomach. Okay. Now, your heart, if you don't have a heart of stone, it's your spirit. Your spirit is going to be with your heart. It's going to be set against your impulses and your desires, which come from your stomach. Your lust and your drives and things of this nature, would thought to be spiritually denoted as coming from, you know what I'm saying, your stomach, which is based upon survival. I mean, without having any type of mind whatsoever or being conscious, or even if you were just, more subconscious and, more, I guess you could say, bestial, you know what I'm saying, you will operate more off of these impulses and these desires. And it's a very important base because this is what keeps you alive. But when you get pitted in a situation in terms of society as we have here today, where, you know what I'm saying, you have to be about survival. You understand what I'm saying? You have to be, you are contrived in a situation where it's constant competition, and we think this is normal and it's very unhealthy. Many of us may have PTSD or what have you just from it's constantly competition anywhere you turn. Egos, the whole nine, and you never get a break from it. You see what I'm saying? You're constantly pit against, another individual for one thing or other, and you don't get any rest. That's just the truth. So these are, your stomach, your impulses, your desires, your bestial sense, that links with the survival mechanisms in your brain, such as fight or flight, your amygdala that, judges things pertaining to reasoning, you know what I'm saying? How to assess the situation, discernment, whether a situation is dangerous or not, being in this environment that is like a wilderness or what have you. Imagine Chirac, and all the things that go down in the streets and what have you. Having this guttural sense, these instincts, this way of thinking, this form of intellect is pit against, the survival is pit against those who thrive. Those who are thriving, you know what I'm saying, or trying to thrive are going to think and move in a different way. But this world is based and rooted in survival. That is just the honest fact. And an individual always has to be aware of their surroundings and the whole nine. You cannot just comfortably thrive without, having to worry about, your shit getting stolen or, you know what I'm saying? If you have a lady, you have to wonder about your homeboys as well. If you really trust them, if you really trust her, because, these individuals, in this world, we all, we have struggles and internal battles that we have to deal with our impulses and our drives and things of this nature. Because with having free will, the temptations of the flesh is like this. I cannot particularly choose who I'm attracted to. Sometimes I'm just attracted to some people for any given number of reasons. You know what I'm saying? And if that individual is with somebody that's even considering a friend, and I'm going to visit my friend, and that individual is constantly going to be around or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I have to really be conscious and control my attitudes and behaviors, out of respect for my friend or what have you, because there's just certain things that you don't do. You know what I'm saying? If you got love for a homeboy or something, if you got love for a brother or a sister, there's certain things that you don't do. Okay. Again, the flesh and also the worm, again, also reminds me of the intestine, things like the worm, the bottomless pit, because, from your esophageal range down to like your rectum, it is kind of like a serpent, or what people, not a serpent really, to be more correct, a snake. A snake, when the Bible talks about snakes and upon your belly you will go, it means you will go according to your appetites. You see, I made a stomach, and it says to be carnally minded is to be dead. So if you go by your appetites, if you go upon your stomach, does not mean that you're not biped or you necessarily are going to move like a snake or a snake on the ground. No, this is spiritual. You know what I'm saying? It means you will be led by your lust. You will be led by your appetites. And if you're led by those things, you know what I'm saying? You are playing with fire. You know what I'm saying? But the worm is like, or the worm, your stomach is like a worm or an intestine. Both snakes and worms, of course, snakes more so, it's comprised of like this muscle, and it contracts like a python. You know what I'm saying? Where it goes down your esophagus and what have you, and it contracts, and it all the way down to, you know what I'm saying, your anus when you waste it out. You know what I'm saying? But you're always eating and drinking and feeding the worm of the flesh. You know what I'm saying? So, I look at like your blood and things like this as like seas and rivers, and your body, which you constantly have to feed, is the earth. So the earth, is requiring of blood. When it talks about Cain and Abel and things of this nature, and the blood, the earth required the blood from an individual. Don't forget that you are incarnate. You know what I'm saying? Your body is comprised of carbonite. All right. The flesh is the dust. All right. And the serpent shall eat the dust of the field, meaning, you are the serpent. The serpent is, like your esophagus and things of this nature. If you go according to your appetites or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You constantly have to feed your body, and things of this nature. What you have to do, the cutthroat ways of how you have to get a job, or the things you have to do in the streets, or whatever profession or business that you're involved in. You know what I'm saying? It is as the earth requiring blood, human beings and how they act in their behaviors in society. That's what I believe the scripture is really talking about. When it gets down to war and resources and all of these other things, while people want their comforts, is that the ways of men have changed and has become set against, you know what I'm saying? The natural way has been set against the spiritual way. Survival has been set against what it is to thrive. And, peace, for the most part, isn't a part of it, because this is a world where you have to compete. They say the way to get to a man's heart is through his stomach. It shouldn't be through your stomach of how you get to a man's heart. But the fact of the matter is, the knowledge of this world, which is very valid, knows this. If you're not a spiritual man, the way to get to an individual's heart, okay, is through his appetites, through his senses, through his pleasures. Upon his belly you will go. For those, this is a wealth of psychology for individuals. When, I deal with the individual, and it's like, okay, you don't deal with God. So based on these things, it's very easy to start breaking down and understanding the psychology and the way that individual thinks, because I know that they're going to have bestial ways. They're going to act according to their senses, of which man, if you're the spiritual man, you could pertain to dominance over those things, right? Because their ways of thinking are going to be different and more temporal. It's going to be adverse to the way that you're thinking. That's just how it goes. And we have both in this world. You know what I'm saying? So those who live by, the law of the jungle, kill or be killed, or this, that, and the other, there is karma and all those other type of things, but there's naturally going to be set against the Achilles heel of the man who goes about things in a different way and tries to live according to peace. You know what I'm saying? So, this is just something that is a constant difficulty to maintain with different people's rights and things like that in this world, who all want something that pertains to having some form of peace or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's difficult to get everyone on the same page because we grow at different rates, and not everybody has that same understanding, spiritual understanding, to where they can understand, the truth of the matter, the complexity of it, because some people, it's going to be a balancing act. Some people are going to have more mercy. Some people are going to have more grace for their brother and sister for something that they're struggling with, or that they're dealing with, that is difficult for them. You know what I'm saying? They're going to have to be forgiving. They're going to have to do these things until it catches and enough people catches up. Now, given the span that each person lives, a certain number of years and what have you, certain men are going to get tired of doing the same thing over and over, constantly forgiving and things like that. Eventually, things are going to meet a head. There's only one God, and Christ is his son, and he had an unlimited amount of the Holy Spirit. I don't have that, okay? But I can do my best, all right, to be patient with others. So this, you are a worm or a serpent, all right? Consider your esophagus that has teeth, a throat, and is buried in your flesh between a cage. The cage being your rib cage and what have you. You know what I'm saying? These things, the essence of you, if you are not conscious and out of your heart chakra, you know what I'm saying, pertaining to understanding the truth and led by your heart, then you're going to be led by your impulses. You know what I'm saying? And this serpent of the deep is also as Leviathan. You know, the esophagus, you know, and how it connects to, you know, all the way from there all the way to your rectum. You understand what I'm saying? And this is a worm with teeth, and has a forked tongue, and can have severe words as poison or fire, right? This man is as Leviathan, you know. And what I mean by forked tongue, a lot of people will be thinking about types of creation such as serpents or dragons. A forked tongue just simply means this. You say one thing and you mean something totally different. You know what I'm saying? A lot of politicians have this forked tongue. Their words are so slippery. Their words are like honey. You know what I'm saying? It's difficult to figure them out. They have no commitment to what they're saying. You want to be committed to the words you say, and you want to say what you mean. You know what I'm saying? Say what you mean with your whole heart. You know what I'm saying? And commit to those words and stand on those words. We live in a society where people won't stand on a word, and their word is not bond. And if Christ is the word and he gives you a promise, if you're out here breaking promises, then you're not a man of God. That's just how it boils down to. You are Leviathan. You are adversary, which the word for adversary is Satan. You know, you are you are a killer and murderer from the start. And the sad thing about this in society is a lot of these people who are led this way, how you know they're bestial, is that when they lose their psyche, they soul, they mind, you know, and they're not led, you know what I'm saying, in the spirit according to the heart, then they have no knowledge of themselves, as a beast doesn't have no knowledge of himself. When they get hungry, they know they got to go kill. You know what I'm saying? Now, when you got the youth out here like Lord of the Flies in Chirac carrying these hammers and shit, running around like locusts, trying to get things done, and the tendrils of that financial situation reach all the way up to corporate America, this is a beast that everyone looks away from, and we all got problems. But we love our comforts. But our comforts don't come from God, it comes from mammon. Think about who you serving. You can't choose between two masters. Peace and blessings be with you all. I'm out.